Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So today we are going to start with the uh, MCQs paper, that is IGCSE Chemistry paper 2, multiple choice, and it's a extended one, 062021, and it's of May for May June 2024. Okay, so let's start with question number 1. A gas is heated, the pressure is kept constant. Which statement describes the behavior of the particles in the gas? Okay, so see what they have told you, that there is a no change in the pressure. We are keeping the constant pressure and are increasing the temperature. So what is happening to the volume, to the gas? If you remember, when the pressure stays constant at pressure at constant pressure, if the temperature is increased, then what happens to the uh, gas? That the gas starts to move faster and goes further apart, which makes it, there is an increase in its volume. So, okay, the best way of doing the question is, do remember for the MCQs one, always go for the wrong one first. So the particle moves faster, that is correct, but becomes closer together. No, it's not. Don't, when you heat it, they don't come closer to each other. So A is wrong. The particles move faster, they become further apart. Yeah, it seems right. So if you find any statement right, don't mark it correct, but go for check the other one whether those are incorrect or not. Particles move more slowly, wrong. Particles move more slowly, wrong. So C or D goes wrong. So we are left with only B. So B is our correct answer. I hope it's understandable to all of you. Now, question number 2. A mixture of ice and water is left to stand and the ice melts. Which row describe what happens as the ice is melting? The temperature of the mixture. So when the ice is melting, the temperature of the mixture increases or stays the same? Yes,
So it stays the same.
it stays the same. So see, these two increases and these two stays the same. So from the point that they say that increases, so it helps us to identify that A and B are wrong, and C and D has first column is correct. Now, next, average kinetic energy of particles decreases. So when the solid is turning into the liquid, what happens to the kinetic energy of the particles? Will it decrease or increase?
It increases.
It increases. So see, this goes wrong, and the energy is used to overcome the attractive forces. So see, that is the actual answer. The average kinetic energy of the particle decreases also refers to, it means that there is a decrease in temperature. If the temperature stays same, so it means that the energy is being used up. It is not going to raise the kinetic energy of the particles, because if the average kinetic energy of the particles changes, then there is a, you know, there must be some change in the temperature as well. So the energy is used to overcome the attractive forces during this. So C goes wrong, and D is the correct answer. Is this understandable to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 3. Hydrogen chloride gas. They have given you the MR at 336.5. Release at P in the apparatus shown. The universal indicator paper turns red after 38 seconds. So it means it takes 38 seconds to travel the hole. The experiment is repeated using sulfur dioxide gas. MR is 64. What is the result of sulfur dioxide gas? Okay. So see, first thing, sulfur dioxide gas is acidic or basic?
Basic.
Base.
It's a non-metal oxide, isn't it? So the non-metal oxides are acidic or basic?
Acidic.
Acidic. So it means if it's an acidic, so it is also going to turn the litmus universal indicator paper to the red, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So it is also going to turn universal indicator paper to the red, which means that these two blues makes these two A and B wrong. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear to all of you? Now, it means being red is correct. Now, hydrochloric acid with the AR with the MR of 36.5 takes 38 seconds, right? So if SO2 has the double MR, which is around 64, right? So it is going to take the same time, lesser time, or greater time?
Greater time.
Greater
Greater
time.
time. So C having a lesser time makes C wrong. And so we are left with only D. So D is our correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, question number 4. Four statements about atoms are listed. Number 1, the center of an atom is a positively charged. Okay. Yeah, that is correct because in the center there is a nucleus. Proton and electrons are located in the nucleus. If you see, the first statement is correct, but the second statement is wrong because electrons are not located in the nucleus. They are present outside the nucleus. Protons and electrons have the same mass. So if you recall
Wrong.
the wrong, very good, because the electrons has a very small mass as compared to 1840 times smaller than the proton. Now, most of the mass of an atom is in the nucleus. Yeah, this is correct because both the protons and neutrons are present in the nucleus and they both have a mass. So our first and fourth statement is correct. So C, A, C, and D goes wrong and B is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, 5. The electronic configuration of the two elements are given. Okay. Element L has 2881 and element M has 284. Which row identifies the group number and the period number of element L and element M? Okay. So beside moving over here, can anyone tell me what is the group number of element L?
Group 1.
Group 1.
Group 1, because it has a 1 electron in its valence shell. And for element M,
Group 4.
Group 4.
group 4. And what about the period for element M? Yes,
4.
So for
4,
L, it's 4.
4. And for element M, period is
3.
3, because the number of shells, see, it has a 1, 2, 3, 4 shells. So period 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So period 3. Now look over here. Group 1 and period 4. Group 4 for element L. So C goes wrong, right? Now, element M is in a group 4. So over here it's group 3. So B goes wrong, group 4. So we are left with only one option, and that is A. So A is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you? Yes. Now, MCQ number 6. Which element explains why isotopes of the same element have the same chemical properties? So, elements, when we talk about isotopes, isotopes have a same protons. And if they have a same protons, then it means same electrons and same electronic configuration, which means, or you can write that uh, same number of valence electron. So But the most appropriate thing is that the isotopes are having showing the same chemical properties because their electronic configurations are same. They have a different number of protons. No, it goes wrong. They have a different number of neutrons. It goes wrong. They have a same electronic configuration. Yes, they have the same number of electrons as protons. Yes, this statement is correct. But this statement is not for isotope. This is statement for every element, every atom, that the number of electrons are exactly same as the protons. Right? So D goes wrong and C is the correct answer. Just give me a minute, please. Okay, now question number 7. Which statement about potassium chloride are correct? It conducts electricity when solid. No, we know that it's an ionic compound, and ionic compound does not conduct electricity when they're solid. It has a high melting point because it has a strong intermolecular forces. So C, the first statement is correct. Yeah, it has a high melting point, but as it's an ionic compound, so there is no strong intermolecular forces. There are strong electrostatic forces of attraction between the oppositely charged ions, between the potassium ion and the chloride ion, right? So second statement goes wrong. It structures giant lattice for alternating positive and negative ions. Yes, this is correct. And it's a group 1 compound, so it is soluble in water. Yes, fourth statement is correct. So third and fourth is correct, which means A, B, and C, all three goes wrong. And D is your correct answer. Is this understandable to all of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Question number 8. How many electrons are shared in one molecule of nitrogen and in one molecule of ethene? So if you recall the nitrogen belongs to group 5. So nitrogen has a 5 electron in its valence shell, and when nitrogen share its electron, so one nitrogen, second nitrogen, and third. So 3 electrons are shared. by one atom. So in total, if you see how many electrons get shared, 6 electrons. So see, A and B goes wrong, and 6 and 6, C and D are correct. Now, if you come to ethene, in ethene, there is a carbon-carbon double bond. There is a one hydrogen, two hydrogen, three hydrogen, four hydrogen. So if you see how many bonds are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bonds. And if there are 6 bonds, so how many electrons must be shared? 12 electrons must be shared,
12.
right? So it means that this 8 makes the D wrong and the C is the correct statement. Now, question number 9. What is the total number of electrons in one molecule of ammonia? Okay. So see, now this is the different kind of a question. They are asking you the total number of electrons in the ammonia. So in ammonia, if you see nitrogen has 7 electrons, 2 and 5, 7 electrons are there. And hydrogen has 1 electron and there are 3 of them. So 1 times 3. So 7 and 3, which means 10 electrons are over here. So D, A, B, and A all are wrong, and C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 10. When heated copper 2 oxide, CuO, reacts with the ammonia NH3. Okay, so here we have a chemical equation. 8.5 gram of ammonia reacts with an excess of copper 2 oxide to produce 26.4 gram of copper. What is the percentage yield of copper in this reaction? So if you see, this value of the copper formed is actually the practical yield. And we need the theoretical yield, which we do by the calculation. So see what we know. Okay, I'm going to tell you the shortcut for this type of question. See, it's question number 10. And what they have given you, they have given you the mass of ammonia. So there are 2 moles of ammonia in the equation. And how many moles of copper are there? 3 moles of copper are there, right? So I took that ratio. Now, if you see, let's move to the periodic table. The bottom value is the relative atomic mass. So over nitrogen is 14, hydrogen is 1, and copper is 64, right? So because they have given you the mass and the mass is provided and we have to calculate the values in mass. So we just take the ratio from the mass. So what we do, we have just seen that the AR of copper is 64. So I'm going to, and there in the equation, there are 3 moles. So I'm going to take it 3 times 64. And there are 2 moles of ammonia. So 2 times MR of ammonia. So ammonia has a nitrogen whose AR is 14 and there are 3 hydrogens. So 14 plus 3 is going to be 17. So 2 times 17. Is this understandable how I made the ratio? I take the ratio of the masses of both the reactant and the product whose amount is given. Is this understandable to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So see over here, how much ammonia has been used? So we have used 8.5 gram of ammonia. So with 8.5 gram of ammonia, the practical yield of copper is 26.4. Now we are going to calculate it, how much it is actually going to be formed. And that is your theoretical yield. So it is going to be X. So if you calculate the value of X, so X is going to be, if you see 8.5, can anybody take out the calculator quickly? Times 3 times 64 over 2 times 17. Okay. So can anyone do the calculation, please? Can anyone just do it in the calculator and tell me the value, please?
48.
48. So that is your theoretical yield, right? So the percentage yield, if you recall, is practical yield or the experimental yield over theoretical yield times 100. So the practical yield is 26.4 over theoretical yield is 48 multiplied by 100. Can anyone solve it and tell me the answer, please?
55.
55%.
55%. So C, 55%. So it means A, B, and D are wrong, and C is the correct answer. Now question number 12. Oh, sorry. We are left with question number 11. What is the empirical formula of ethanoic acid? So if you recall the formula of ethanoic acid, it is CH3COOH. So if you make it the molecular formula, so there is going to be C2H4O2. And if you simplify it to 1, 2, and 1, so it is going to be CH2O. So that is B. So it means A, C, and D are wrong. And the correct answer is B. Is this clear? Now, question number 12. Magnesium chloride contains magnesium ions and a chloride ions. How many chloride ions are present in 2 moles of magnesium chloride? So see, if you look for a magnesium ion, we know it has a +2 charge, and chloride ion has a 1 negative charge. So if we go for the formula, so the formula is going to be MgCl2. And they are saying that there are 2 moles of magnesium chloride. So if there are 2 moles of magnesium chloride, so isn't it that 2 moles of magnesium chloride are going to have there are 2 chloride in one molecule in 1 mole. So if there are 2 moles, so we are going to have a 4 moles of chloride ions. Is this understandable to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So as we know that 1 mole has 6.02 exponent 24 ions, right? 1 mole has this much number of particles, right? 1 mole has 6.02 exponent 24. No, exponent 23 ions. So if there are 4 moles, then how many ions would be there? It is going to be X. So if you calculate the value of X, so X is going to be, okay. So first we did this, second we did this, third, and the fourth is 4 times 6.02 exponent 23 divided by 1. I'm not writing the 1. So it is going to be 2.408 exponent 24, which is this option. So A, B, and D goes wrong, and C is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 13. A metal object is electroplated with the copper. So if we see, so from this, if you recall, if there is a metal object, so that metal object we need to electroplate is going to be attached to cathode, and the metal by which we did the coating is at anode. You have to remember this thing. Now, one electrode is the metal object, and that is cathode, and the other electrode is copper, which is anode. The electrolyte is aqueous copper to sulfate, which row shows the ionic half equation for the reaction at anode and the observation of the electrolyte. Yes, so at anode it's a copper. So if you recall, isn't it that that this is an anode and copper is going to be electroplated on the object, so copper is start dissolving in the solution, turning into ions, isn't it? So if you see, this is over here in C and D, the half equations are correct, and in A and B, the half equations are wrong. Is this understandable to all of you? And
Yes.
now think for the observation at electrode. So the copper ions entering in the solution, and what is going to happen at cathode where there is a metal object? The copper ions are gaining the electron and turning into copper metal and start depositing. So as a result, the electroplating occurs. So the copper ions entering the solution and copper ions going out of the solution. So there is actually no change in the color. So the blue color fades is going to be considered as wrong, which makes C wrong. And the correct answer is D. Is this clear? Now, question number 14. Which statement about electrolysis is correct? Chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. No, because we provide the electrical energy, we are not getting the electric energy. Electrons flow through electrolyte. Wrong. Electrolyte have ions which flow in the solution, not electrons. Ionic compounds are broken down. Yes, it seems correct. Metals are formed at positive electrode. No, metals are actually having a positive ions. So they are going to be formed at the negative electrode because opposite charges attract each other. So D goes wrong as well. So it means our correct answer is C. Is this clear to all of you? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Now question number 15. The reaction between hydrogen and oxygen releases 486 kilojoule per mole of energy. Okay, here you got a chemical equation. The bond energy of hydrogen is 436 kilojoule, and that of oxygen is 464 kilojoule. What is the bond energy of oxygen double bond? So if you see this value, which they have provided you over here, this one, isn't it? It's the enthalpy change for this reaction, that on this reaction, and its releases, so it means minus 486 kilojoule per mole. Is this understandable?
Yes, sir.
And we know, if you go for the formula, these are the bonds which are broken, and these are the bonds which were made. So the enthalpy change is equals to bond broken minus bond made, isn't it? So the enthalpy change is minus 486. Okay, just wait. Bond broken. So which bond is broken? It's H2. So if you know, if I draw the structure H2 means there are two hydrogen bonds plus one O2, so there is a one oxygen double bond plus H2O. So HOH and HOH, right? So if you see the bond broken, there are two hydrogen bonds. So it means 2 times 436. Can anyone tell me the value? 2 times 436, 2 times 6 is 12. 1, 2, 3 is 6, 7, and 2, 4 is 8. 872. And the oxygen bond, we have to calculate it, it's X. So what is our expression become? The delta H is minus 486 is equals to 872 plus X minus bond made. So which bonds are made? 4 OH bonds are made, right? If you see one OH bond, second OH bond, third OH bond, fourth OH bond. So 4 times 464. Can anyone tell me the answer? 16, 1 carry, 4 6 are 24, 24, 25. 2 carry, 4 8 16, 17, 18. Is it 1856? Can anyone confirm me? So that is the expression we got, minus 1856. So X is equals to minus 486, minus 872, and plus 1856. Can anyone solve it quickly and tell me the answer?
So I'm getting positive 498.
Positive
498.
498. Okay. So it is this one. So it means A, B, and D goes wrong, and C is the correct answer. Is this understandable to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 16. Which reaction pathway diagram shows the reaction that will give out most energy? The scale on y-axis is same as in the each diagram. So the first, they are asking which give out most energy. So give out most energy means that is the enthalpy change is going to be negative or exothermic. So for that cases, this and this are going to be wrong because these are for the endothermic, not for exothermic, isn't it? Is this understandable?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we are left with A and D, and they are asking for the most energy. So the most energy is going to have a most gap. So over here, the gap is small, which makes the D wrong, and we are left with the only option A. So A is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now question number 17. When calcium carbonate is heated strongly, a gas is given off. Which word describes this change?
Chemical.
Very good. It's a chemical change because some new thing is formed. So B, C, and D goes wrong, and A is the correct answer. Okay. Now, question number 18. Powdered magnesium carbonate is added to excess dilute hydrochloric acid. The total volume of gas produced is measured over time. Okay. The graph of the results is shown. Okay. The experiment is repeated, but the concentration of the hydrochloric acid is doubled. Okay. All other conditions are kept same. Which statement about the second experiment is correct? Okay, if I show you all these, so can you identify the final volume of a gas is going to be 360? Is it correct or wrong?
No.
No. Very good. Because over here they have written that it's an excess. So if I double it or if I increase the concentration, there is no change in the amount of the gas because it is already an excess. So if I take more amount than the previous one, it doesn't make any difference in the amount of gas formed, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So A is wrong. So if the statement 1 is wrong, it means our options A and B both are wrong, right? The reaction finishes before 90 seconds. Okay, so if you
Yes.
see over here, the reaction is finishing around at 90. So obviously, because the concentration is higher, makes the rate faster, right? And if the rate is faster, then the second statement is correct that uh, it is going to the reaction is going to finish is more earlier. The activation energy of the reaction is lower. No, increasing concentration doesn't lower the activation energy. Only adding catalyst does lower the activation energy. So third is wrong. So if the third statement is wrong, so C goes wrong as well. So we are only left with the D option. So D is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now question number 19. Which statement explains why increasing the temperature changes the rate of chemical reaction? It increases the activation energy. No, activation energy doesn't increase or decrease by the, it only gets lower by adding the catalyst. No other thing increases or decreases the activation energy, right? It increases the frequency of the collision between the reacting particles. Yeah, we are increasing the temperature so the particles gets more energy, which means second statement is correct. So, okay, if the first is wrong, so it means A and B goes wrong. And if the second is correct, then it means D is also wrong. And our correct answer is C. Is this understandable? So see, that is the shortcut way to figure out the which statement is correct beside uh, going through all the things, because I have identified that the first statement is wrong. So I marked A and B wrong. I have identified that the second statement is correct. So only C has a second statement. So it means that C option is right and rest of the options are wrong. Did you guys understand this? So that's how I saved my
Yes, sir.
time. Now, question number 20. Hydrogen is made by reacting carbon with the steam. The equation for the reaction is shown. Okay. The forward reaction is endothermic. Okay. So it means that the delta H for this reaction is positive. So the backward reaction is obviously going to be exothermic. Which law describe the changes in the pressure and temperature that will both shift the position of the equilibrium towards right? So see, if the reaction is endothermic, so it means I have to increase the temperature, and on increasing the temperature, the equilibrium shifts towards the right. And if we talk about pressure, over here, we have 1 mole of gas, and over here, we have 2 moles of gas. So to shift the equilibrium towards right, I need to lower the pressure, and as a result, the equilibrium shifts towards the right. Is this understandable? So decreases pressure, increases pressure. So C and D goes wrong because the increase in pressure doesn't shift the equilibrium towards right. And decreasing temperature. So the A goes wrong because decreasing temperature doesn't shift the equilibrium towards right because the forward reaction is endothermic. So we need to increase the temperature. So our B option is correct. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now question number 21. Which law shows the conditions used for the conversion of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide in the contact process? So I hope you guys have remembered that we have studied this in the making of the sulfuric acid. So we need the catalyst vanadium 5 oxide. So see over here vanadium 5 oxide. So it means C and D goes wrong. And if you recall the pressure, so pressure is 2 atm for contact
Two.
process and the temperature is 450 degrees Celsius. So this goes wrong, A goes wrong, and it means B is the correct answer. So B has all the three things correct. Is this clear? Now, question number 22.
Yes, sir.
The equation for the reaction of a magnesium with carbon dioxide is shown. Which statement is correct about this reaction? Okay. Magnesium is oxidized and carbon dioxide is reduced. Okay, so see, magnesium is 0 and over here it goes +2. And if you see carbon is +4 and it goes 0, right? Because it is turning into element. So it is being reduced and it is being oxidized. So yeah, the first statement looks same. Looks correct, but go for the rest of the one to figure out magnesium is reduced. No, it's wrong because magnesium's oxidation number is increasing. It is gaining the oxygen, so it is undergoing oxygen. Magnesium and carbon dioxide both are oxidized. So carbon dioxide doesn't oxidize because it loses the oxygen. Its oxidation number decreases, so carbon dioxide is being reduced. Magnesium and carbon both are neither oxidized and reduced. So this is also wrong because there is a change in oxidation number. There is a loss or a gain of oxygen. So we can't say that is neither oxidized nor reduced. So is the correct answer. Now, 23. Chlorine displaces bromine from the aqueous potassium bromide. The ionic equation for the reaction is shown. Which statement is correct about this reaction is correct? Okay. So if you see bromide is turning into bromine, its oxidation number is increasing, which means it's an oxidation. So if it's an oxidation, it means it's a reducing agent. Chlorine's oxidation number is 0. And from 0, it goes to -1. So its oxidation number is decreasing, which means it's a reduction. So chlorine is an oxidizing agent. Is this understandable? Now, bromide ion act as oxidizing agent goes wrong. Bromide ions are oxidized as electron are lost. So yeah, it is oxidized, but in oxidation, yeah, the electron are lost as well. So it seems correct, but we have to assure that rest of the things are wrong. Chlorine act as a reducing agent. So we have seen that chlorine is acting as a oxidizing agent, right? So this goes wrong. Chlorine is reduced as electrons are lost. Yes, chlorine is reduced and in the reduction, the electron are lost, not lost, electrons are gained. So D goes wrong. So it means, yeah, the B statement is correct. Now, question number 24. Which gas is produced when ammonium chloride is warmed with aqueous sodium hydroxide? So I think that is a memory-based question. Whenever we have a ammonium salt, you have to remember this. Any ammonium salt, not ammonium chloride, ammonium sulfate, ammonium phosphate, ammonium bromide, ammonium chloride, ammonium nitrate, any ammonium, and any alkali. See, sodium hydroxide is an alkali, any group 1 or group 2 alkali. So on heating this, we will get the salt, water, and ammonia. So see, ammonia. So B, C, and D, not no chlorine, no hydrogen, no nitrogen, ammonia is formed, and that is the test for cations, the ammonium ion as well, if you recall. Now, question number 25. Which equation represents the solution of a ethanoic acid in water? So first thing, what they say? Ethanoic acid. So ethanoic acid is, if you recall, CH3COOH. So that is methanoic acid. So A and B goes wrong. Okay. Now, ethanoic acid. But see, it's a weak acid, isn't it? So the only making the arrow towards the right direction makes it wrong because it's a weak acid and weak acid partially dissociates. So we always show with the reversible sign, losing the hydrogen ion and forming the ethanoate ion. So C option is correct. Is this understandable to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now, question number 26. 4 statements about the reaction of oxide with dilute hydrochloric acid and with aqueous sodium hydroxide are listed. Okay. Aluminium oxide reacts with both dilute hydrochloric acid and aqueous sodium hydroxide. So if you recall, it is the correct statement because aluminium oxide is amphoteric oxide. So you must remember this. Calcium oxide reacts with both dilute hydrochloric acid and aqueous sodium hydroxide. So if you recall, calcium oxide is just a basic oxide. So 2 goes wrong. So if you see 2 goes wrong, makes A and C wrong. And if the 1 is correct, D doesn't has 1, so D goes wrong. So our correct answer is B. Is this understandable? So we are not, to see, again, we have saved the time, and beside going to the rest of the 3, we have figured out our correct answer. Now, 27. Which statement about the elements in period 3 of the periodic table is correct? Okay. Aluminium is a non-metal. So see, that goes wrong. Aluminium is a metal, right? Aluminium is a non-metal. It goes wrong. Argon is in group 8 and has a 8 electrons in the outer shell. Yeah, it's in group 8, but see whether it's in period 3 or not. Let's have a look. Period 1, period 2, period 3. Yes, it's in period 3. It's in group 8. And if it's in group 8, it has a 8 electron. So this seems correct. Magnesium is in group 2, yeah, and has a 3 electrons. No, if it's in group 2, it must has a 2 electrons. Sulfur is a metal in group 6. Yeah, it's in group 6, but it's not a metal. It's not a metal, it's a non-metal. So D goes wrong. It means our B option is correct. Now, 28. Which law describes the structure of group 7 elements and the trend in their reactivity down the group? Okay. So if you recall, we have a fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Just give me a minute, please. Okay. So as we move down the group, their reactivity decreases. So reactivity down the group increases. So it means A and B goes wrong. And if we talk about their structures, they all are diatomic, right? So yes, this, and over here it's a monoatomic. So D goes wrong and B is the correct answer. Is this clear? Now, question number 29. Some information about 4 elements P, Q, R, and S is shown. Okay. Which elements are transition elements? So for our transition element, if you recall, they have a high melting point, high density, and colored compounds, right? So if you see first, second, and third, they all three have a high melting point, but S doesn't. So S is wrong. And if S is wrong, S is not a transition element, so B and D goes wrong. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, low density, which means Q goes wrong. So C has a Q, so C is not the answer. Is this clear? So we are only left with the A. So C, high densities, colored, their chlorides are colored. So yes, P and R. So A is the correct answer. Now, question number 30. Now, from 30 onwards, I think most of the would be organic, I suppose. Let's see, 30. Propanoic acid is a carboxylic acid. It has a similar chemical properties to ethanoic acid, which statement are correct. Aqueous propanoic acid is a weaker acid than dilute hydrochloric acid. Yes, this is correct. And if it is correct, then it makes D goes wrong, right? Propanoic acid partially ionizes in aqueous solution. Yes. Second statement is correct. And if second statement is correct, which makes C goes wrong, right? And if third is okay, yeah, first and second are correct, which means either we have a option A or option B. Propanoic acid reacts with ethanol to form propyl ethanoate. No, if you recall, ethyl propanoate because the alcohol is ethanol. So it means third statement is wrong, and if third statement is wrong, so A is wrong, it means our correct answer is B. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, question number 31. Iron rests in the presence of oxygen and water. Yes, which statement about the resting of iron are correct? Okay. Anhydrous iron 2 oxide is produced when iron rests? No. When iron rests, hydrated iron 3 oxide is produced. So one goes wrong. And if one goes wrong, so it means A and B are wrong. Then iron rests more quickly when attached to a piece of zinc. So if you recall, being piece of a zinc is more reactive than iron, so it provides a sacrificial protection. So 2 goes wrong. So if 2 is wrong, it means C is wrong. So it means we are only left with the D option. So D is the correct answer. Is this clear? And if you see, coating the iron with the plastic prevents iron from the rusting. Yes, it is. Iron loses electrons when it rusts. Yeah, because it goes from 0 to +3. So it loses the electron. I hope till here it's clear to all of you. Now question number 32. An iron nail is added to aqueous copper 2 sulfate, and a different iron nail is added to aqueous magnesium sulfate. The results are shown. Okay. Iron nail in the aqueous copper 2 sulfate nail is coated with the brown solid. Yeah, because the copper is formed. Because over here the reaction occur. Because when you add the iron nail, it's an Fe. And we have a copper 2 positive. So if you recall the reactivity series, we have a zinc, iron, tin, lead, hydrogen, copper. So iron turns into its ion and displaces the copper, and copper becomes solid. So we observe the brown solid. That is fine. Now, if you see above zinc, we have aluminium and we have magnesium. So iron nail and magnesium sulfite, no reaction. Yeah, because iron and Mg2 positive. So the ions are of a more reactive metal. So it is not going to, the iron is not going to displace them. Okay. Now, which statement is correct? Copper atoms are oxidized more easily than magnesium atom. Is this statement correct or not?
No, sir.
No, it's not correct because iron is not oxidized with in the presence of magnesium ion. So A goes wrong. Copper atoms are reduced more easily than iron ions. Does copper atoms reduced? No, the copper ions reduce, copper atoms won't, right? If you see, these are the copper ions which are reduced to copper. And copper atom doesn't further reduce because the reduction of a copper atom means turning the copper atoms into +1 and -2. So that is not possible. So B goes wrong. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now third, iron atoms are oxidized more easily than copper atoms. Yes, because over here, see, iron displaces the copper ions and turning into iron ions and making the copper atom. So it means iron is going to be oxidized more readily. Iron atoms are reduced more easily than again. So the iron atoms are reduced. Atoms of metals won't going to be reduced, right? Because Reducing of an atom means gaining the negative charge, and the metal atoms doesn't gain negative charge. So D goes wrong. So C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now 33. Which pollutant leads to the deoxygenation of water in ponds and lakes? So I think it's a memory-based question and it's very easy. Fertilizer containing nitrates and phosphates. Toxic metal compounds down. Combustion of products gives carbon dioxide. Acid rain causes corrosion. So C, D goes wrong and A is the correct answer. Now 34. Which statement identifies a sample of pure water is pure? It melts at room temperature. No. It turns anhydrous copper to sulfate blue. Yes, it is the test for water, so it doesn't mean that it's pure or not. It turns hydrated cobalt to chloride from blue to pink. It is also a test of water, but it doesn't make that it's pure. So pure substance to be pure, its melting and boiling point occurs at the sharp point. So yeah, it boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So that is the correct answer. That the sample of water is pure. So D is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you? Now,
Yes.
35. Oxides of nitrogen are produced by car engines. In catalytic converter, oxides of nitrogen are removed by reacting them with the compound X. Which row describes the type of reaction oxides of nitrogen undergo identifies the okay. In a catalytic converter, the oxides of nitrogen are removed by the reacting them with the compound X, which is carbon monoxide. And the catalytic converter has a catalyst platinum or palladium or rhodium. Which row describes the type of reaction oxides of nitrogen undergo and identifies compound X. So if you recall, it's the equation is like this: NO reacting with CO, turning into NO2, CO2 and N2. So see nitrogen from +2 to 0, which means it is reduced because loss of oxygen. Carbon is +2 because it's bonded to one oxygen, turning into carbon with the +4 because having the two oxygen, so it's an oxidation. So if we see the nitrogen oxides undergoing reduction, right? And that's what they have asked you. The type of reaction oxides of nitrogen undergo. So the oxides of nitrogen undergo reduction. So A and B are wrong. And the compound X is not carbon dioxide, so C goes wrong. It's a carbon monoxide, so D is the correct answer. Is this clear? Now,
Yes.
question number 36. What is the disadvantage of producing ethanol using the catalytic addition of steam to ethene? It means they are talking about this reaction where there is a CH2 double bond CH2 and we react to the steam in the presence of catalyst. One carbon got the hydrogen and the other carbon got the OH. Ethanol is produced. We are asking for the disadvantage. The energy cost is low. If it's low, so how could be it's a disadvantage, right? The process is continuous. Yeah, it's a continuous process. It's not a reversible. So again, it's not a disadvantage. The process uses non-renewable raw material. Yes, because the raw material comes from crude oil and crude oil is going to be, extinct someday. All is going to be used up. So this can be a disadvantage. The ethanol is pure. So yes, it is a disadvantage again. Ethanol is pure. That is a correct thing. But that's not our correct answer. So our correct answer for this question is C. So see, this happens sometimes. Then whatever the statement they gave you, those statements are correct. But are they relatable or are they correct for what exactly examiner is asking in the question? That is the most important thing. Okay. Now, question number 37. Which statement about the polymer PET is correct? Okay. It can be broken down into its monomers and repolymerized. So if you recall, PET is the polyester we have studied, right? So yeah, polyester and polyamides are hydrolyzed to, hydrolysis, they are broken down into monomers and then we can turn back into a polymer again. So that's what is important, that you need to remember that it is a polyester. So if it's a polyester, then it is an addition polymer. No, it is a condensation polymer. So B is wrong. It is a polyamide. So C is wrong. It is made from amino acid monomers. From amino acid monomers, only proteins are made, right? So we are left with only option A. So A is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, 38, the formula of the 5 compounds are listed. Which compounds are in the same homologous series? Okay. So if you see, it's Cn, and if 4 is N, so hydrogen is 2 times 4, 8, 8 plus 2, 10. So isn't it? It's CnH2n plus 2.
Yes.
And if you see, if there is a N, 2 is N, so 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 1. So isn't it going to be 2n plus 1 OH? And same Cn, H2n plus 1 OH. And if you see over here, Cn, H2n plus 1, C double OH. And if you see C5Cn, 2 5s are 10, means 2n plus 1 OH. So this, and this, and this. So that is, these three belongs to same homologous series. So A, C, and D goes wrong, and B is the correct answer. Is this clear? Yes, any confusion so far? Okay. Question number 39. Propane reacts with a chlorine. Which statement about this reaction is correct? Ultraviolet light is used to provide the activation energy. Yes, it is correct because propane is an alkane, and alkane reacts with the chlorine in the presence of sunlight and UV or UV rays. Propane undergoes an addition reaction. No, it's a single bond. There is a all single bond. There is no double bond, so it won't undergo addition. So it means the A and B goes wrong because this says that the second statement is correct. One of the product is CH3, CH2, Cl. So see, it has a 2 carbons, right? And the propane has 3 carbons, isn't it? Propane means it is going to be C3, H8. And over here, it's C2. So having a 3, D goes wrong. So it means we are left with only B. So B is the correct one. So it means that, yeah, the first statement is correct. One of the product is HCl. Yes, when the hydrogen is released from the alkane, it combines with the 1 chlorine atom to form HCl. It's C2. That's what I mean. Okay. So till here, it's clear to all of you. Now, MCQ number 40, which statement about chromatography is correct? Okay. It is not possible for two different substances to have the same RF value. No, it is possible. If they do have a same solubility, they will show you same RF value. So A is the wrong statement. It is only possible to use chromatography on a substance which have a color. No, we have discussed that amino acids are the colorless component. We use chromatography to separate them as well. So B goes wrong. It is possible to use chromatography on colorless substances using a locating agent. Yes, that's what it is. But we first confirm D is wrong or not. The RF value of a substance is distance traveled by the solvent. So see, the distance traveled by the solute is in the numerator, not the solvent. Solvent goes to the denominator and the substance goes to the numerator. So D goes wrong. So it means we are only left with the C option. So C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are done with the paper. And that is a IGCSE paper that we did today. That is IGCSE 0620. So tomorrow we are going to do O-level chemistry 5070. Inshallah, at the same time, probably we will start the class by 5:30, inshallah. Okay. So see you everyone tomorrow. Till then, take care. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.
Love.